Hi, welcome to Unscripted Soul podcast. I'm Flo. I'm here with my co-host Rebecca. We're two spiritual coaches that believe the most profound conversations happen when we drop the script and speak from our soul. Every week we go live into spiritual awakening, becoming more of our true self, and living as conscious creators. Our hope is that our journey will help you navigate your journey. We're so happy that you're here. Let's dive in. So, in this week's episode, we're going to talk about the law of prosperity and a little backstory. So, I recently enrolled in the University of Metaphysics. And the reason why I did this is because I've always had a deep fascination about the laws of the universe. That's what metaphysics is, the laws of the universe. Scientists say that we can only perceive 1% of our world. So I really wanted to know what the other 99% is. And I wanted to learn the laws so that I could work with them to improve my life and to improve the lives of people around me and the lives of the people that I work with. Rebecca messaged me this week saying that she wanted to talk about the laws of the universe, what I'm learning. And immediately I said, yes, absolutely. And I chose the law of prosperity because I feel like it would benefit everyone. And spoiler alert, prosperity is not only about money. So before we get into it, Rebecca, how do you feel about what I'm saying? And is there something that you would like to add?
Right, so wow, that's so interesting. I love it. The law of prosperity. So what I think about all this is just energy and frequency. What I've learned is that everything in existence is energy, right? Even like things that are solid. We look and examine the atom and it's just empty space. So everything is energy, and money is an energy, is a frequency. And I think that for me personally, all of the money blocks and the struggles that I've had was a lot of resistance to what is, and not looking at the obvious. And the obvious is we live in an abundant universe. Wealth and abundance is our nature, it's what we are. If you think about it, life is favored, right? Life wants to keep moving forward, growth. The universe favors growth in life and abundance. And you can just look around, like, look at a tree, for instance, all the leaves, look at the grass, all the hundreds and thousands of blades of grass, or grains of sand in the ocean. So we are abundant beings living in an abundant universe. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think about the law of prosperity. But Flo, tell me, what have you learned about this?
Okay, so I love your perspective. And yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And in the spiritual world, they have the saying of money is a frequency. It is hard to understand though when you think of it, like if you're looking at it, what does that mean? Money is a frequency. So, what I've learned is um, fundamentally, the law of prosperity is not looked at as an accumulation of money. It is actually a state of consciousness. So there's five pillars that come with the state of consciousness. So it's peace prosperity, health prosperity, love prosperity, wisdom prosperity, and financial prosperity. So when all of those are aligned and harmonious, you naturally feel prosperous. And the financial piece will naturally just come to you. So let's break that down a little bit. So the first one was peace prosperity. And that means like having a peaceful mind and emotional well-being. And most of the time, living in a state of positivity rather than negativity. And if you have a chaotic mind, it's going to be really hard to manifest a stable life. Okay, and health prosperity. I think this is self-explanatory because a healthy body is a form of abundance. And if you're not healthy, you're going to have a hard time feeling abundance. Love prosperity. And this is explained in self-love first. So you really have to learn how to love yourself. That way you can love others. If you have a loud inner critic or you're really judgmental of yourself, that's how you're going to react to the world. You're going to see others you're going to judge others. You're going to have criticize others because you do that to yourself. So you really have to learn how to love yourself unconditionally and accept yourself unconditionally. Wisdom prosperity. This is being your intuition and divine intelligence. So human mind is limited. Divine intelligence is unlimited in resources and unlimited in everything. And tapping into your own intuition, that is wisdom prosperity. And then financial prosperity. So if all of the others are aligned and harmonious, the financial part will naturally just come to you. And then there's these sub laws underneath. So once you get the state of consciousness in abundance, you're feeling very prosperous. If you don't have enough finances, like if you're still wanting more financial abundance, then there's these sub laws tools that you can use to bring more financial prosperity to you. So number one would be the law of giving and receiving. Number two is the law of release. Number three is the law of attraction. Number four is the law of gratitude. And number five is the law of divine purpose. And to break those down is the law of giving and receiving. So many of us that are spiritual, we have a really easy time giving. We're always out there being the light in the world and, giving, 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 but we have a hard time receiving. And even like for me, compliments were really hard. I had a hard time receiving compliments, but I was so good at giving compliments. But receiving them just felt so off, and I had to really do a lot of work around that. The second is the law of release. So the law explains that two energies cannot exist at the same time. So you have to release the lower energy in order to invite the higher energy. And this goes for material items and emotions. The law of attraction. I think a lot of us work on the law of attraction, visualizing, and what your thoughts are will magnetize to you. And the law of gratitude, what you appreciate, the universe gives you more to appreciate. I love that one because I work on the law of gratitude a lot, and I just feel grateful all the time for everything. But that took work. It wasn't something that just came naturally. And the law of divine purpose. This one I absolutely love because I've been feeling this in my life. And when you are living in your divine purpose, you start feeling and seeing mystical things happening to you all the time, synchronicities. And so the law states that if you are connected to your divine purpose, what you came here to do on this earth, what you were born to do, the universe will naturally support you. It will give you everything you need to back you. So I love this one because I have been living in my purpose for the last 2 years and just seeing all this magic in my life. And it just feels like I don't want to ever, ever not be in this state. It's the most beautiful feeling all the time, just knowing that divine is with you and that you're doing what he wants you to do, the divine, you're doing the divine work, why you came here, being the light in the world and helping others become the light too. Yeah, so those are the sub laws and the fundamental state of consciousness laws. That's what I learned, and I love them, and I totally agree. What do you think, Rebecca?
Wow. So that's so awesome. So basically, what you're saying then is it's not just about money. Prosperity, there's those five different domains of prosperity. And so if you are focused on money, but you're not focused on other aspects of your life where also you also need to tend to those. So if you're not all in harmony with all of those different aspects, and if you don't embrace the frequency of abundance, not just in finances, but in your health and in your love life and in other areas, um, then you're not going to be able to receive your abundance because you're stuck somewhere else. It sounds like that's what kind of what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, it also states that if you're only focused on money, or if you've been given a lot of money, but you're ignoring the other prosperous um, pillars, then you're actually further away from abundance than the other people that are working to be harmonious. So if you only have money, that is not prosperity. So basically, that's what it says.
So interesting. So another thing you mentioned was like the giving and receiving. And it made me think when I first started learning about the law of attraction and I had read The Secret and I was getting into it, and I learned that giving what that was a way to receive money. Like, don't hold on to it, let it go and it will come back to you. And so I started helping other people. It started with giving some people on the corner some money. And then I went and bought groceries for some homeless people. And then I started making gift bags. And each time I went out and delivered these, I received money from different sources. And I was new to this. So I was blown away and I got sucked in. I wasn't paying attention to other areas of my life. And it ending up pretty bad for me, where some homeless people ended up getting kind of taken advantage of, because so it kind of backfired after a minute. And because I was just giving, 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 and I wasn't looking at other areas of my life. I was new to this. I didn't understand any of these other laws. But then once I realized that there was a balance and I was able to work on that, it kind of corrected itself. But it just blew me away when it first happened, where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm giving away like my last $5 bill out of my wallet. Like, this is all the money I have. And then like within hours, a friend Venmoed me some money, and it was just weird little things like that. So yeah, that is so interesting.
Yeah.
But you have to, it's a
Yeah.
balance, right? Isn't it just a balance of things
It
too?
really is. Yeah. Lots to balance out and work on being in harmony. Basically everything in the universe is balanced. If you look outside, no, the trees aren't having any urgency. They're not trying to compete with each other. Everything is aligned. They're not rushing around trying to get more. Um, Everything's in harmony. And that's how we're supposed to be, in harmony with everything around us. And I think society has taught us not good examples of like extreme wealth. And then that's what we all want to emulate and get to. And if we don't, then we're not happy. And that's not the way we were made to be. We all have special things in our life to be happy about, and to be able to recognize those. That's a form of abundance, to be able to have the eyes to see abundance rather than lack. So that's training, retraining of your mind as well.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, to be able to see abundance instead of lack, because we're conditioned to see what we don't have. It's in our DNA. It's how we evolved, right? We had to be on the lookout for what could go wrong in order to survive. So we're always looking at what
Right.
we don't have. But there's something that happens when we focus on what we don't have, because the universe, another law, I believe, is like the universe is like a mirror. So as above, so below, right? That's one of the Hermetic principles. That says that
Yes.
our inner world is being reflected to us in our outer world. So if we're looking around, like looking at our bank account, and we're like, crap, I don't have any money, I don't have enough, I want more, we're just going to keep getting the same thing. But what if we stopped looking at our bank account? What if we looked at our refrigerator and we just went shopping and we're like, wow, look at all the food I have? What if we looked at other things that we had in abundance? Maybe it doesn't have to be money. Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's love, maybe, it could be anything. And you can just look outside. I like to do this with nature because I live in the mountains and I can just look out and see all the pine trees. All of the pine needles. I wonder how many pine needles are on one tree. That is abundance right there. So, what happens when we train our eyes to see that instead of, oh, I have nothing?
Yeah, beautiful. I love that because it's so important. I mean, if you aren't able, and what you were going back to what you were saying, that is how we have survived and evolved as a human species. But getting out of survival and evolving and going to a higher state of consciousness is our job here. We didn't come here just to survive, pay bills, and then die. We came here to evolve our soul and to become more. And so to get out of that survival mindset and be able to see what really is around us. And that's what they mean by um, money is a frequency. Because if you think about it, money is just a number in your bank account and paper with numbers on it. It's really not anything. So the example that I like to use when I say money is a frequency is, imagine you are waiting for a tax return and you've been waiting for it and you really want that $1,000 or whatever you're going to get. And you didn't check your bank account for, you know, 2 days, 3 days. And then you check it and you realize it's been there for 3 days. Well, in those 3 days, that wasn't doing anything. It's just a number, nothing. So money is a frequency is because when you use the money, it makes you feel a certain way. Like you go and you go pay for a nice dinner and you go out. It's the atmosphere, how you feel when you order whatever you wanted to order instead of looking at the price of everything. Um, that's the frequency. It's the frequency it gives you. It has nothing on its own. Money is nothing on its own. Like it's just a number in your bank account or a piece of paper with numbers on it. So that's what they mean when money is a frequency. It gives you the frequency. It gives you a higher level of feeling because now you have money to do whatever it is you want. But if you never like it didn't change in those 3 days that you didn't have the money. Does that make sense? It didn't
Yeah.
change. Your feeling didn't change at all. It didn't make a difference. It's just there,
Yeah, no, that's
right?
cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's interesting because it's like you think about like how so many people think like money is evil, like money, but like money is the root of all evil, but that's not even correct. It's the love of money, the love and the
yeah,
desire, because that just creates more resistance. Because if you love it so much and you have to have it and you don't have it, there's that. But that makes so much sense when you think about it like, oh, it's the frequency that you get when you have enough, when you can go out and have a nice dinner, when you can do things nice for people that you love.
yeah. That's the frequency. That's why they say money is a frequency. It gives you the higher frequency,
So if you
right?
create the frequency on your own before the money arrives, if you embody that frequency, that energy of feeling abundant, feeling as if you already have it, then does that mean that you are becoming a match then for the money that's out there on
That
its way?
that is the law of attraction. That falls under the law of attraction.
Okay, right.
So, yeah, what you visualize and what you see is magnetized to you. So, if you can constantly practice that, see it. And that's what Michael Jackson did. He saw his album being number one in the world, the best artist in the world. He constantly told himself that, and he lived it. He became it. He lived it. So, of course, he's super talented too, but yeah, that was his destiny. Um, But we're going to have to come to a conclusion because I think that we're at time now. But I love this conversation. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And I hope it's been helpful for the audience. and we'll see you next week.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
so much for listening and being here with us. Rebecca and I hope that you got some insights from this podcast and that you'll join us next week.